Welcome back, Patriots. Welcome to Sons of Liberty 1773. I'm your host, Bill Bailey, broadcasting again from my man cave, my vintage gas station that I'm finishing finally. As you can see, I've got it insulated, the ceiling's insulated, walls are insulated. I'm going to tell you, folks, you get old and up and down ladders and up and down on your knees cutting insulation. You really start to feel the love. You know what I'm talking about? And then Renee walks out and we got to do our 2.5 mile walk. So I was really beat yesterday after a long day working out here, and I finished the insulation this morning. I have the it's reverse, but that is beadboard plywood. It's got the nice, it looks like old beadboard. I'm going to put that on the ceiling. Probably do that next week. I'm going to take a little break and heal up a little bit. Take some aspirin and not bitching, it's just part of getting old. I am bitching, but I'm tough. I can take the pain. So before I get into this massive bank failure, and this is big, folks, and it's going to get worse. How many more banks will fail, I don't know, but I just know it's going to get worse. That's my opinion. But I was listening to Glenn Beck and the Inflation Reduction Act. Remember that beauty from the Democrats? Democrats are really good at lying and manipulating. They're all servants of Satan, the Democrats. They're actually full out godless communists. But in that Inflation Reduction Act is billions and billions and billions of dollars to subsidize going green, but also to tear down coal plants. Bad energy. We're sitting on the largest coal reserves in the world, and clean coal technology, although it's not perfectly clean, was getting better and better, and we're sitting on an abundance of free energy. The windmills are dirty energy. Don't let the left. There's nothing clean about green energy. The windmills ruin choice prairie land. They kill raptors. They're subsidized. They don't pay for themselves. They're full of oil. They break, and once they're wore out, they just leave them, abandon them because it costs too much to tear all the the footings under those windmills are a city block. And then the battery, all the battery technology is slave labor in Africa. Open pit mining with people working, barely enough to just pay for their food for the day. And it's like pickaxes, it's awful. And I want alternative energy, but it needs to make sense and it needs to work. But hidden in this Inflation Reduction Act is billions and billions of dollars to subsidize the green, the climate idiots, the windmills and the solar farms. But to get the money, they got to tear down and scrap the coal plants that take years and years to build, right? And I learned about this on listening to Glenn Beck today or yesterday. So they're these plants like Germany, look where they are now because of the Nord Stream, right? They're hustling to try to get these coal plants going again. What the left is doing is making sure that's not even an option. We're going to tear them down. Isn't it nice to know they're destroying America with our money? They're destroying our education system, turned them into indoctrination camps with our money. They're funding the Chinese communists with our money. They're building Ukraine and nation building and starting World War III with our money. We're living at a level of tyranny that the founders of this country would have never put up with. Never. So, and Glenn, I think, said one plant in Texas, they're selling these power plants to get people in with the power companies are, so they can get these billions in subsidies. Then the people that buy the plants scrap them and sell the scrap metal. And I think Glenn said one sold in Texas for 10 million or something, and they're tearing it down and scrapping it. That Inflation Reduction Act was really the Build America Communist Act, and it's nothing but a Trojan horse. There's nothing good or noble in that bill. Nothing. It's all destructive. So then let's talk about this bank. This is a massive bank failure, folks. And it happened like that. Just boom. CNBC, I think, is where this first article's from. Silicon Valley Bank is shut down by regulators in biggest bank failure since the global financial crisis. Financial regulators have closed Silicon Valley Bank and taken control of its deposits. The Federal Deposit Insurance Company announced Friday in what is the largest U.S. bank failure since the global financial crisis more than a decade ago. The collapse of SVB, a key player in tech and venture capital community, leaves companies and wealthy individuals largely unsure of what will happen to their money. According to a press release from regulators, the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation closed SVB and named the FDIC as the receiver. So overnight it went into receivership. Multi-billion-dollar bank, it's gone. The FDIC, in turn, has created the Deposit Insurance National Bank of Santa Clara, which now holds the insured deposits from SVB. The FDIC said in the announcement that insured depositors will have access to their deposits no later than Monday morning. Right now, they can't get their money. And, their deposits, I think, are insured up to $250,000. So if you had $300,000 in there, well, $50,000, bye-bye. You're probably not getting that part back. SVB branch offices will also reopen at that time under the control of the regulator. According to the press release, SVB's official checks will continue to clear. The FDIC standard insurance covers up to $250,000 per depositor per bank for each account ownership category. The FDIC said uninsured depositors will get receivership certificates for their balances. I don't know what that means. The regulatory said it will pay uninsured depositors an advance dividend within the next week, with potential additional dividend payments as the regulator sells SVB's assets. So that doesn't sound good for those folks. Whether depositors with more than $250,000 ultimately get their money back will be determined by the amount of money the regulator gets as it sells Silicon Valley assets, or if another bank takes ownership of the remaining assets. There were concerns in the tech community that until the process unfolds, some companies may have issues making payroll. I got a feeling this is going to cascade into other banks, but I mean, we'll see. That's my opinion. As of the end of December, SVB had roughly 209, listen to these numbers, folks, $209 billion in total assets and $175.4 billion in total deposits, according to the press release. The FDIC said it was unclear what portion of those deposits were above the insurance limit. The last U.S. bank failure this size was Washington Mutual in 2008, which had $307 billion in assets. And then found this over at Reuters. Explainer, what caused Silicon Valley's bank failure? Federal Reserve raises rates. Okay, they're going to go through this bullet point list. I'll read them to you. So the Federal Reserve raises rates. The Federal Reserve has been raising interest rates from their record low levels since last year in its bid to fight inflation, and not raising them fast enough, in my opinion. Investors have less appetite for risk when the money available to them, hang on, I gotta flip the page, becomes expensive due to higher rates. This weighed on technology startups, the primary clients of Silicon Valley Bank, because it made their investors more risk adverse. Next bullet point, some Silicon Valley Bank clients face cash crunch, as higher interest rates caused the market for initial public offerings to shut down for many startups and made private fundraising more costly. Some Silicon Valley Bank clients started pulling money out to meet their liquidity needs. This culminated in Silicon Valley Bank looking for ways this week to meet its customers' withdrawals. Then Silicon Valley Bank sells bond portfolios at a loss. To fund the redemption, Silicon Valley Bank sold on Wednesday a $21 billion bond portfolio consisting mostly of U.S. Treasuries. The portfolio was yielding an average of 1.79%, far below the current 10-year Treasury yield of around 3.9%. This forced SVB to recognize a $1.8 billion loss, which it needed to fill through a capital raise. SVB announces stock sale. SVB announced on Thursday it would sell $2.25 billion in common equity and preferred convertible stock to fill its funding hole. Its shares ended trading on the day down 60% as investors fretted that the deposit withdrawals may push it to raise even more capital. Stock sale collapses. Some SVB clients pulled their money from the bank on the advice of venture capital firms such as Peter Thiel's Future Fund, Reuters reported. This spooked investors such as General Atlantic that SVB had lined up for the stock sale, and the capital raising efforts collapsed late on Thursday. SVB goes into receivership, and think, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so like over 3 days. Everybody thinks this bank's on, greatest thing, and that's gone, just like that. That's how quick this stuff can go south, folks. So SVB goes into receivership. SVB scrambled on Friday, today, to find alternative funding, including through the sale of the company. Later in the day, however, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC, then announced that SVB was shut down and placed under its receivership. The FDIC added that it would seek to sell SVB's assets and that the future dividend payments may be made to uninsured depositors. I'm going to say the uninsured depositors are not in a good position right now. So I made my prediction for 2023 that we are heading into this criminal administration. We're an occupied nation right now. Communism, there was a color revolution, whatever you want to call it. And they're destroying this country. That's their goal, to destroy America. Everything that was once good and noble. They're tearing down statues. They're removing Thomas Jefferson. They've painted or graffitied a Abraham Lincoln statue. If you read the 45 declared goals of the communists to take over America, entered into the congressional record in the early 60s, just Google 45 declared goals of the communists to take over America, and you'll see it'll say Clean Skoosin. It's a bullet point list. You can read it in 5 minutes, and you can see that everything that's happening right now is in a list for right in front of your face. Take over the schools, put the party line in the textbooks, promote promiscuity, break down the family, promote homosexuality, take over one or both political parties, and replace good art with repulsive art. And you just go down this list, folks, and you'll think, holy crap, man, they've been doing this to us for decades, and they're bearing fruit now. The bitter as it may be, I say, make a plan and then work your plan, to be successful. And that's what they're doing. And they're continuing with it. Now, I guarantee there's an updated list because this one's from the early 60s. And there's things that have changed, but no one so far has been able to get a hold of it. Or maybe they're a lot smarter to not write it down this time so people can get a copy of it. I made my predictions for 2023 that we're heading into the greatest depression, not a Great Depression, the greatest depression, and World War III. And I'll just tell you, my friends, I don't see anything changing my view, and I hope I'm wrong. Look, I don't want to be right about this. And friend sent me an article, and it was from the Cleveland Clinic because he's always wants to, don't get involved in this stuff, Bill. You can't change any of it. And to a point, he's right. If we're going to be honest, right? But that doesn't, for me, it doesn't mean you don't try. And it was an article about, how depressing all the doomsday internet stuff is, and it's actually causing, depression, really severe depression with people. And I can probably deal with it more than a lot of folks, but it is depressing, folks. But I'm not one to sugarcoat the truth. I'm a realist. Whatever the reality is, if it's all, unicorns and rainbows and the future looks bright and sunny, that's what I would be talking about right now. But it's not. It looks pretty doomsy. It looks, the clouds of evil are engulfing the earth, and we're heading to a bad place. That's just the way I see it. Hopefully I'm wrong, right? I mean, I don't want to be right, but I just think it's just better to plan for the worst, and if nothing happens, you're as prepared as you can be. So keep prepping and keep praying. And thank you, Paul Bartlett. I have a Bible, a King James version, and I don't know, it's a standard size Bible. And when I bought it in the early 80s, I didn't have to wear these to read. And I've been thinking for the last few months, I need to order a big Bible with bigger print. And we go to the mailbox today, and Paul lives in Australia, by the way. And Paul had sent me a brand new, large Bible, a King James Version study Bible. And the timing, thank you, Paul, if you're watching this. I emailed you, by the way. And I appreciate that, because a lot more user-friendly on the eyes, the bigger print, and just a much nicer Bible than the one I have. But keep prepping and praying. And, once you're prepped up and stuff, live your life. I mean, if you want to go for a vacation, go for a vacation. I always say, prep first, rather than take the vacation, go buy more preps. But I mean, if you're feeling depressed and you just need a break from all this, take a breather, man. The bad news will be here when you come back. But I think exercise is really good for dealing with depression. Take your vitamins. In the Midwest, anywhere where you've got a major winter cycle where it's cloudy for months on end and you're not getting the sunshine, make sure you're taking vitamin D. That'll. My sister, who worked retired now, worked at Costco Pharmacy in Idaho, said everybody's vitamin D deficient out there. Everybody, and that's the first thing the doctors do when they're put them on and get you on a regimented daily getting your vitamin D. So definitely do that. But look, I'm working on my gas station, my man cave. I'm gonna get this, get the ceiling in, finish the walls, get the shelving around it, painted, and start displaying all my stuff. And I'm gonna enjoy life. I mean, if the nukes go off, the nukes go off. There's nothing we can do for it. But I do think living through really bad times, knowing that you've got a stockpile of food and first aid and all the preps and stuff you need to live for a couple years, is going to be a lot easier to deal with than going from feast to famine. We want to avoid that. Everybody should be a prepper. My friends, by the way, who they're coming back, great folks, by the way. I really like this couple, but they go to an island off of Honduras, Utila Island, and he likes to watch the weather up here. Oh, I see you're getting freeze. It's 80 degrees down here. I see you're getting frost. All these people that go south, they like to say, hey, I'm down here enjoying the sunny weather, but see, I like winter. So I get to this point of the year, I'm ready for summer now, but I like the seasons. But anyways, he, and they weren't coming back till May. He said, hey, it looks like we're coming back. And what happened is the landfill there caught, and it isn't the first time it's happened. I was looking on the internet, but there's a landfill on the island, and it caught on fire, and they can't put it out. And it's like a mini East Palestine. I shouldn't laugh, Palestine, and there's this toxic stew of crap going in the air, and it's blowing toward where they live, and these people are health nuts. So they said, well, we're going to come home, and they got all summer to put the fire out. So you never know, but there's a million reasons to prep. I mean, there's a lot of earthquakes anymore. There's hurricanes, and the hurricane cycle. Everybody likes to say, oh my, they were saying George Bush created Katrina, you know, because I forget, something with the climate, some climate thing he didn't sign. No, actually, Mother Nature, we have hurricanes. So I'm reading, it was the last naval, matter of fact, I posted it today in the community post. Today is the last naval, I think in 1783, last naval battle of the Revolutionary War. And it was talking about there was a really bad hurricane, 1783, that the ships had to change course and go somewhere else. And I wonder if they knew about climate change back then. I mean, I would love to go back in some sort of time machine and grab a few of the founding fathers, especially George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and Sam Adams, and a few of them, and bring them up to speed, and bring them back here and show them what the hell's happening in this country right now. And I think they'd want to kick our asses. They'd be saying, "What the hell's wrong with you people? Why are you allowing this? What did we fight and die for to give you your freedoms, and you're letting them just sap them away from you, suck the life out of you?" They just would never put up with the level of tyranny that we're living under. But, they do it over time, right, folks? In generations. So what we wouldn't put up with now, 2 generations from now, that they will put up with. But they've been doing this since since the progressive movement of the early 1900s, 1913, even started in the late 1800s. But the real communist push to destroy America started, I think, in the late 50s. Okay, I've rambled on long enough. I would tell you that, this is a good reason why you don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? You want to keep some cash on hand. You want to diversify. And I'm not a financial advisor. You always got to give this stupid disclaimer, right? I'm just giving you my opinion. Seek out your own professionals, in whatever field, and make your own decision. Telling you what I think. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Have some gold and silver, physical gold and silver. The paper stuff to me is just a fiat. Because if things go south in the world, you really think you're going to get your gold and silver from these companies? You need to take ownership of it. And don't put all your, same thing with gold and silver. Don't go put all your money in gold and silver, but have some. I used to hear a good rule of thumb was 10% of your net worth in precious metals. Don't know if that's true, but it seemed like good advice. Seems like good advice and a sound number. More is probably better. Pay stuff off. Keep some cash hid where you know it's safe. Because when these banks go south, if there's ever a run on the banks, you're not getting your money, folks. They might give you, $100 a week or $200 a week or something like that. You're just not going to go in and say, "Hey, I've got $100,000, give it to me." It just ain't going to happen. That's all I got. Wish I had some, funner stuff, but, anyways, I'll give you can I do this real quick? So, working on the ladder, those are bats. They come, I don't know, it's R30 or something, R40. They're 4 foot long, and you got to get up there and staple them, it's not that it's hard work. It's just up and down ladders and working over your head, and my neck's messed up. And then, but anyways, as you can see, it's all insulated, and I am looking forward next week. Probably I will rent one of the drywall jack, that you can lay the sheets on. You just crank it up, holds it up against the ceiling. Because I remember holding, drywall over your head and, trying to, with, drywall nails when I was younger, and I could do that stuff. I didn't like it then. But whoever invented the drywall jack is a genius. I'm sure they're living like that. That was a wonderful invention. And if you don't know what they are, I would assume most everybody on this channel does, but it's just a little machine, mechanical, and you put your sheet of, in this case, it'll be this beadboard, and then you flip it, so it's parallel to the ground. And then there's just a cable with a pulley, and you spin this deal, and it pushes it right up against, and it's on wheels. You can roll it around, and then you can lock it in place. There's a little brake. Get up there and get it all lined up, and and nail it in, and then wind it down, put your next sheet on, and do it again. It's they're awesome, and you can rent them. They're not much to rent. Few bucks, $20 for a half a day or something. Okay, let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. It always helps when you give the videos a thumbs up. Comment down below and share them on your social media. It kind of is a workaround on the algorithm. Really like you to share these videos now, because we're not far, folks, from hitting 10,000 subs on this channel. I think we're over 9,000. So we're or over 9,900. I mean, so we're less than 100 away from 10,000. So it'll be a big day for this community. I will see you later. Bye.